choice greetings to you. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening, and I'm sitting in the company of a very exquisitely beautiful woman. You'd think that her journey in life has been quite easy, but boy, oh boy, does she have a story and a testimony to share with us. What many of us don't realize about infidelity is the adverse effect it has on us, the people who suffer. Often, we think that it's just a matter of an indiscretion that happens within the confines of marriage. We hardly ever stop to think of the transgression for one to be unfaithful in the union of marriage. So let's speak to Zinhle Ngubane this evening. Sis Zinhle, welcome to Healing Conversations.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be here.
Your story is quite endearing.
Yeah.
It scared even me. And it got me thinking and it took me back on a roller coaster of emotions.
Yep.
And I thought I knew what being cheated on feels like,
Yeah.
right? But I heard your story and I literally stood up from my chair.
Sure.
What does a beautiful woman like you, think when you experience something that gruesome?
Yeah, look, we're going to shoot straight into it.
Yeah.
That's the hard question, because
Yeah.
I think that's the hard pill that women have to swallow.
Yeah.
Because when that happens, you always think the problem is you.
The first instinct is, what is so wrong with me?
With me.
Yeah.
You always look at yourself and you're like, what is wrong with me?
What am I not doing
What don't
right?
I have? What do I lack? Why can't I be chosen? And I think, it becomes that thing, and that's the exact thing that throws you into depression, because you try so much to be something you're not, to accommodate the next person because you think there's something wrong with you. So, it does exactly that. It just breaks your confidence. It breaks your esteem as a person. As much as you say, I'm gorgeous, thank you.
And you are.
Thank you so much, But I think when you're there, you don't feel that. I still don't feel beautiful now because of the trauma that I've endured, It's a work in progress. It's something that I'm still working on. But thank you so much for that.
I look at you and I look at myself, and I wonder if we as women really do appreciate the wholeness that is within us, to an extent of saying, this is really just stripping layers of who I am.
Yeah.
This is really just altering what I think about myself.
Sure.
And really, this is changing who I am. At some point in my life, I found myself calling girls. And I found myself becoming this girl who would get involved in cat fights with men.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, in your own journey, did you like the person that you were becoming in all of this?
No. And sadly, it takes a while before you make the decision that this is not who I want to be. I also became that person. I had to become a party person because my partner would go out. So I had to become that so that I could fit in to this lifestyle that we're trying to build. I had to go to clubs. I had to, try alcohol. But I think you realize that, no, man, this is not me. I'm losing myself. I feel psychotic, as they call us.
Yes.
That's what they call us. You are being a psycho. And I'm not being psychotic. I'm reacting to what you have done or what you've introduced me to, So I've lost myself as well. I found myself losing myself a lot in that situation, in that sense. And I was also that girl that would call and be like, tell her that you don't want her anymore, But you're like, why? Is it because I'm not comfortable with myself? Like you said, is it a me problem that I am, reflecting on this girl, and I'm trying to make her feel somewhat unimportant just because I feel that way, you know? So yeah, no, it does change you as a person. It does alter the person that you are in a negative way, not a positive way.
Yeah, yeah. What I found interesting in your story is that the infidelity was a part of the relationship.
Yes.
And yet you took the decision to enter into marriage with this person. What were you thinking that maybe he's going to change?
That's what we think. We usually say, I'll change a man.
Oh, yes.
But unfortunately, we don't have the power to change anyone. God has the power to change people, not us. So I think I made excuses for him, and I said, we're still young. We will grow into it. He will change.
And at that point you are? How old?
I am 23.
And he is?
He is 26, yes. And I'm like, we're still young, you know, we'll grow, we'll get into it, you know, we'll figure each other out, we'll make it work. Yeah, little did I know that once you get into marriage, it still becomes a thing. It doesn't change. That's who the person is, or that's what he's accustomed himself to, and I can't change him. No matter what I do, I could wear the tightest dress and put on the most makeup on my face, but it won't change a person, you know. So I went in thinking, I'll change him. We'll get it right. He'll be fine. It's just he's playing around. Yep.
Did you somehow send the message that,
oh, it's okay?
yeah, it's okay? Because I do know that there are some women who say, I don't mind if my husband has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or I know that he is dating other women, even though we are married.
We're married. So I think maybe I did. I am partially to be blamed, I can say that, because I remember just before I left, I started saying to him, how about we take his Tim? And I'm like, have I accepted this? Does this mean I'm okay with him doing this? You know, I'm like, how about to touch his Tim? And then we see where that takes you, because clearly there's an interest, you know, outside. So maybe let's try his Tim. And he goes, no, I don't want his Tim. It's difficult dealing with one woman. What am I going to do with multiple women? I'm like, but
they are.
It's what you do, you know? So let's formalize it. Introduce them to me. Let's see. So I think I did okay it somehow, because when it happened the first time, I didn't walk away. And I think the minute you stay, that is when you say it is okay for you to continue doing this, you know? Yeah, some people always say, "Ayikho indoda ozoyithola cheat," and I think now with where I am in my journey, I'm just like, there's no way. There's no way. If Leyo ndoda leyo was sent for me by God, He will not do that. You know, I refuse to accept that analogy. Yoguti, yonke indoda iyachita. You need to live with that. No, it's a no.
The years of your marriage, were you ever at a point where you felt, I have a husband? Let me unpack that for you.
Sure.
There are marriages where people are married on paper with a ring, but practically they are living separate or single lives.
Single lives.
Yes.
In the early stages, because I went in when there was already instability, it became very difficult to experience and enjoy being married, you know? So I think the first year, yes, you're like, okay, let's see, I'm married, let's, but yeah, it started feeling like we're living separate lives. We're two separate people that are here trying to raise a child together, but are we married? What's happening, you know? Although we would still do the things that married people do, we still show up as married people, but at home it was different. And I think it's something I'd usually tell him, Oguti, when we're home, you're not the same person you are when we're outside. So it was like we're living in different worlds, actually. Now that you're making me think about it, it was, yeah, yeah.
When you got married, what were your expectations?
I think if I'm being honest, I think I loved the idea of a wedding than the idea of marriage.
Did you understand what being married meant, even for you at that point?
I don't think so. That's why I say, Uguti, I think I love the idea of being in a white dress and I have a ring on my finger. That was the exciting thing. But I think with the expectation of what marriage comes with, I had limited knowledge because I was young.
Yeah.
You know, I was very young.
Yeah.
As much as, they put us down when you get married and they tell you, about marriage. You know what elders do? They tell you about marriage. This is this is that, this is that. I was just like, let me wear that white wedding dress. That's all I want, Yeah, we didn't even go for marriage counseling, if I'm being honest, because let's get married, So I think we missed a lot of things before committing to this particular thing, So yeah, I didn't think about it before getting into it. Yeah.
So now the infidelity starts, or rather, the infidelity gets worse.
Yep.
And you realize, it seems like if I'm gonna stay married, this is how it's gonna go down. At what point do you start looking at yourself, and saying, but am I happy with this? And start really questioning what is happening.
Yeah.
In terms of it being suitable for you.
Yeah. I think it was a message that made me realize I can't do this anymore. This is not the life I want to live for the rest of my life, because I had accepted the others and we dealt with it and we moved past it.
Oh, can I just interrupt you
Yes.
there? So it wasn't a case of cheating with one particular individual. It was a serial cheathood, if there is such a word.
Yep. Yep. And when you confront, you are made to feel like you are being delusional.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, what? I'm not cheating. I'm just talking to her. But I'm like, there's trail. You become that person that's like, open your phone. Let's go through your phone. Let's read. Let's go through all of it. Let's call the girl, But I think, where I was like, okay, you just put the nail on the coffin was when this one girl sends a message. So my father-in-law calls me and he says, I'm trying to reach this person. Where is he? I'm like, he's here. So he says, check his phone. Check how many times I called. I go on his phone. So our phones are smartphones. When you scroll down, it shows you everything, right? And then this message reads, it was great to be with you last night. Then I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Right after that, the girl calls. And it's like, it is not my fault your husband thinks about me while he's with you. I think there I was done. I was like, I am not doing this, especially because it was not the first time having a conversation about this particular woman, right? So I'm like, what is wrong with me? I think that's the first question I asked him. I was like, what is wrong with me? When do you choose me? Because, at some point you need to choose me. And little did I know at that point that I actually need to choose myself, I think that's where I was like, now I need to choose myself. That was it. I was like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
What did what is wrong with me mean? Did it mean what is wrong in the sense that I cannot satisfy you or I cannot fulfill you, that you would need to, get me back up or go outside of the confines of our marriage?
It was that. It was, am I not satisfying you? Am I not? Because for me, I think it was never about beauty, right? It was more, if you're doing it, then I must not be doing something right. Whether it's intimacy, whether it's respecting you, whether it's, what is it that I'm not doing, that you've not communicated to me, And I think he couldn't answer that question because I would try to be a woman. I can see when they tell us, this is a woman humbles herself, a woman respects. You try to implement those things in your home. But unfortunately, certain things that are done make you lose the respect for the person. So it got to that point where I didn't have any respect for him anymore. And yeah, he wanted to use that against me, but I'm like, I didn't come into your life and not respect you. I came into your life and I respected you, but the things you've done have made me not respect you as a man. It made me not respect you as a protector, So, yeah, it's that. It's a, what's wrong with me? What do I need to do? Do I need to go get a boob job? Do I need to go get my face done? What do I need to go do so that I can be enough for you, Yeah.
So the pursuit was more on being enough for him. Was he enough for you, though?
And I think, you don't realize that when you're there. I mean, I think also it comes with what you are told when you're in there. Because you will be told, Uguti, no one is ever going to love you like I do. You'll never find anyone. You'll never this. You are this. You are not a good wife. You are not this. And then you start, belittling yourself. You start becoming what they've sized you to be. You start believing it. And I think that's why I didn't realize that he's actually not enough for me. I am the prize. He's not enough for me at this point. So it takes a while. And I understand when people that get beaten and emotionally abused keep going back. They keep going back because they have been sized to believe that this is what you are worth.
Yeah.
You're not worth anything more than this, So yeah.
And I think that interestingly, though, they get, to a level where they become so convinced, I think, by the statements that are being, and the words that are being used to chastise them, that no one can love you. This is it for you. And you look around, pretty much as soon you look around you, and this is your definition of love.
Yep.
This is the only person who can have you.
Yep. It's exactly that, Because, I think I still struggle even now with, because I am single and you'll get proposed, right? And when someone comes and says, you're good enough, I love you, you look at yourself and you're like, no, but he said, no one will ever love me. So it becomes a thing that plays in your head constantly, You'll go for therapy, you'll go for that, but it still lingers in your head, It's a reality that...
So how many children did you have in the marriage?
I have one living, and unfortunately I miscarried one. So it would have been two, but yeah.
So tell me about the time when you saw the SMS from the lady and she called you, and you say that is when you made up your mind and said, nope, I'm not going any further.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is it, yeah. So I think it was premeditated. It was a build-up of things that got me to that breaking point, if I'm being honest, because I had previously had the conversation with this lady.
With her or about her?
About her, rather, sorry. About this lady with him. And this is when I miscarried my child, unfortunately. We were fighting about this particular woman. And I think when this woman pops up again after the trauma I experienced, and I was rejected in that moment where I needed my husband.
I'm gonna pause you right there. That one you have to unpack.
No.
How so were you rejected by him when you needed him? What was going on?
So we had our misunderstanding. He decided to leave, right? I'm home, I'm alone. Luckily, my daughter is visiting. And I'm having this miscarriage. First instinct is call your husband, right? I call my husband and I say, having a miscarriage, I need you. First thing he says to me is, so go thola di miscarriage, meaning you get miscarriages now. I think, for me, it was the most hardest or difficult form of rejection that I had ever experienced. Because I had to pick myself up and drive myself to hospital. And I did that whole journey on my own, nowhere to be found. Only to find that, this lady was there with him, and that's why I got that rejection, right? But
how did you find that out?
It came up. It came up because she called after he came back. She called him, and that's how I found out about her. And now they're having this conversation. I'm like, continue with the conversation. Don't stop talking to her because I'm here. Continue with it. Let's hear what, So I found out that they were together, and that's why I was, not attended to when I needed him to attend to me. And I think that's the rejection I speak of. And when she came up again, I was like, you guys already put me through so much. I don't think I can handle any more of whatever it is. And the fact that she's still here means she's got something that I don't have. She's important. You've chosen her. I think when I keep saying chosen, because for me I think when you're a woman, you want to be chosen by your partner, So it was that you've chosen her. So this is it for me. I'm not continuing. I'm not going to endure any more trauma because of this person.
Out of curiosity.
Yes.
Had they been, you have already said that there had been several, multiple accounts of the cheating. Had you had any other confrontations before? I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. I was involved with a man at some point in my life. And this was a guy he was a serial cheater,
Dangerous ones.
Yes. And it seemed to me that if I discover that he's cheating on me with Zinhle, he leaves Zinhle and starts with another one.
My word.
So it became the tone of the relationship. I would be forever discovering this one and then she's replaced by another one. And so on and so on. And I don't recall during that relationship, it just being the two of us in that relationship.
Sure. There's always someone else.
There's always some, I won't say someone because someone is one head.
Others.
Yes, there'll always be others.
Yeah. It was exactly that. It was never the same person. And I think with this one, that's why I was like, I'm done because it's the same person. What a shocker. Does that mean he loves her? Does that mean
she's here to stay?
She's here to stay? Is she here to replace me? Because I remember even asking him that question. I was like, has she ever made you think about leaving me? You know? And he said, no. There was not, how he put it, she was obsessed with me. So I was just there to give her closure. I'm like, oh, okay. While you're doing that for her, what are you doing for me? You know? He couldn't answer that question. So I think that's why it was a shocker that she stayed with this one for so long, because it was usually, you know, queen, princess, blah, 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 different people all the time. So yeah, he was smooth, or I don't know if it's smooth or smart, or I don't know what they call it when they do it, but he was doing exactly that. Yeah.
It's always heartbreaking when we give ourselves to our partners in marriage with the trust and the love that we have. We hope that we are going to build a life together, and our dreams become so shattered when it turns out otherwise. It is a loss of some kind when trust is eroded in relationships. Many of us are ignorant to the extent to which infidelity hurts our partners. Let's stay tuned for part 2 of my conversation with Zinhle Ngubane. Next week, Healing Conversations, Tuesday at 18:30 p.m. right here on TBN Africa.
Get yourself a copy of our latest books, The Mending of a Broken Vessel and Maintaining Your Joy, a journal for daily positive living. Visit a bookstore near you.